I'm PK with Hamburger Superchargers. Basically want to kind of cover the main differences we are between standard Superchargers, root style, that type of thing. We have the standard root style setup, standard Procharger Vortex size, and our setup. So our setup is half the size of any of the other kits out there. Most of the Superchargers, they spin 50,000 RPM. Ours actually spins 90,000 RPM. Now how we do that is there's no gears, so less heat, there's no whine, it's Supercharger's dead quiet. So we can spin this at 90,000 RPM at half the size. So where we can compete, we don't have to cut up the vehicle as much when we're doing installs, anything like that. Well, the number one question is like, well, how do you do this with no gears? Well, the fluids, it's called non-Newtonian, means that the actual fluid changes properties. So what we have here is cornstarch and water. So if you go through, you can push through it quick. If you go fast, it solidifies. So basically the same concept. The faster this spins, the solid becomes a one-to-one setup. So there's no slippage. The shear, compared to anything else out there wise, it's phenomenal. So it gives us the great power, torque and horsepower, I don't know. And because ours is spinning 90,000 RPM, when you're pulling out in the traffic, you've got around 2,400 RPM, you've got 2 or 3 pounds of boost, get out in the traffic, get around stuff too. So we've got some lower RPM power, but you know, where everybody else comes on at 3,500. So for the most part, you can pull out in the traffic, get some good power, get around stuff, and of course if you go wide open throttle, you've got full boogie on all your horsepower levels and stuff. So overall, the whole experience, it's just the most fun kit. Like everybody says it's the most fun kit they've ever driven. And with the powertrain warranty and being 50 state legal, it's just a blast. It drives completely different than anybody else out there. And ease of install, basically we don't have to cut up anything on the vehicle. There's some that you can trim some plastic, but other than that, you could always go back to stock.
So for like your intercoolers, you're not really able to do much trimming there, like you see other manufacturers.
Yeah, well, basically, since all of our tubing is a rubber with a steel woven inside, where everybody else has the hard tubes, they got to cut stuff. Where these, they can snake that through and around stuff, and they don't have to worry about it. And the steel woven setup, it doesn't expand or contract or anything like that. But overall, it's just a complete different take on the technology of the Supercharger setup. You know, we're probably a couple of years away from being like offering a race option, but for the most part, we're going to be your street guy that just wants good power and fun. You don't have to think about it when you're driving. Like most of the other kits, you know, you have to, am I in the right RPM? Am I in the right gear? Where it's going to make power? All that. We just, with this kit, you just right foot, and you're done. So it's a completely different driving experience than, you know, I've had supercharged cars, turbo cars, Prochargers. You know, they all have their place and all that, but this is just a different experience. And like a majority of the guys that just want some power and drivability, it's just nobody can touch us on the drivability side of things.
Definitely, I'm looking forward to eventually making out to you guys' headquarters out in New Jersey, right?
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah, Dave extended me an offer to come out there, but we just got to make out there and maybe hopefully get to do a factory tour of you guys' place.
It's pretty amazing. I mean, when we'll have 25 brand new Camaros dropped off in the parking lot, or 25 Corvettes, you know, just whatever. All to be fully disassembled and rebuilt. And you know, most people think of like on the Yanko side of things that it's just a bolt-on deal. They have no clue whatsoever.
And that's what I wanted to demonstrate, to show what's all truly involved.
Yeah.
So hopefully maybe this spring I'll make it happen this year.
A lot of people, they're like, oh yeah, it's this and that, and wheels, tires, all that. It's like custom carbon fiber stuff, carbon fiber brakes. I mean, it's like you have no clue.
Exactly.
That it's a specifically built vehicle. That's why they're getting so much money for them. You can't build one.
Right.
You can't buy the wheels that we make, all that stuff. So it's unbelievable, man. It's just between the cars and the aftermarket, it's just it's a blast.
Cool. Thank you. And